Welcome to our exploration of Canada's most haunted prisons, where the echoes of the past linger in the air. Each location holds a chilling story of despair, confinement, and restless spirits. Join us as we delve into the eerie histories of these infamous sites, uncovering the haunting tales that continue to captivate the imagination. 1. Ottawa Jail Hostel, Ottawa, Ontario. The Ottawa Jail Hostel, once the foreboding Carleton County Jail, holds a lingering energy that no amount of renovations could expel. Visitors report encountering the spirit of Patrick Whelan, hanged for murder in 1869, who seems to remain in eternal protest of his fate. Guests staying on the upper floors feel sudden icy breezes even in summer and hear phantom footsteps in the halls, as if Whelan is still pacing in his cell. The narrow, creaky stairs that lead to the old gallows room emit an oppressive aura, where many claim to feel an unseen presence pressing down upon them. In the dead of night, the hostel's lights flicker and doors slam shut by invisible hands. Shadowy figures often hover by the bedsides of guests, who awake to a suffocating chill and a deep sense of dread, as if still within the prison's brutal history. 2. Old Don Jail, Toronto, Ontario. Toronto's Old Don Jail is a stone fortress that held some of the city's most notorious criminals and bore witness to their final moments. Now a site where ghostly cries and disembodied footsteps disturb the stillness, the jail's dark history seeps into every crack. Guards who have stayed late report flickering shadows and sudden drops in temperature near the basement, where public hangings once took place. Cell doors rattle, and some visitors have seen faint apparitions trapped within the walls, their eyes hollow with despair. The air thickens with an unnameable dread, especially near the hanging chamber, where restless spirits seem to replay their last, fateful steps. Many say the prison's energies are inescapable, binding the souls of the condemned to this haunting place. 3. Kingston Penitentiary, Kingston, Ontario. The imposing walls of Kingston Penitentiary tell stories of despair, violence, and the weight of lives confined. Known for paranormal activity, the prison's long empty cells are said to host figures from its brutal past. Shadows appear in the dim hallways, and distant, anguished whispers drift through the air. The cell of Grace Marks, a famous prisoner, radiates an unnatural cold, filling visitors with an unshakable melancholy. Inside solitary confinement, an eerie silence is occasionally broken by faint cries, as though the walls remember every moment of suffering. Guards recount hearing footsteps echoing through the empty halls, an endless march of spirits still pacing in confinement. Each step echoes a tale of regret and unresolved despair. 4th Street Vincent depal Penitentiary, Laval, Quebec, abandoned but not forgotten. The crumbling St. Vincent de Paul Penitentiary harbors spirits unwilling to leave. The eerie quiet of its decayed corridors is punctuated by whispers that rise and fade as if the voices of the past are trapped within. Those who enter the old isolation cells often feel sudden chills and claim they hear faint conversations just out of earshot. Shadowy forms appear briefly and vanish, leaving behind a suffocating stillness. An unnatural cold fills certain blocks, and many describe the sensation of unseen eyes following them. The smell of decay and iron lingers in the air, a reminder of the despair once housed here. Even decades after its closure, the restless spirits of St. Vincent de Paul seem unwilling to release their hold on the prison grounds. 5. Barton Street Jail, Hamilton, Ontario. The Barton Street Jail, an imposing structure of stone and steel, radiates an aura of fear. Legends of hauntings have persisted for decades, with some former guards refusing to speak of what they've seen. Cold spots, whispers, and the clanking of chains are common, and shadows dance along the dimly lit hallways. A number of visitors claim to see translucent figures peering from the windows, their faces twisted in torment. The former gallows area is especially ominous, with sounds of muffled cries heard in the silence. Those who stand too long in the darkened hallways report feeling hands brushing against them, although no one is there. It's as if the prison's past inmates continue to protest their fate, clinging to life in these cold, unforgiving walls. 6. Prince Albert Penitentiary. Prince Albert, Saskatchewan Prince Albert Penitentiary, a relic of Canada's oldest incarceration practices, has long been whispered to be haunted. The echoes of past punishments linger, and shadows stretch across the empty cells, carrying with them the memories of pain and regret. Visitors often feel an intense chill in the solitary blocks, where the walls seem to pulse with the trapped energy of past inmates. Some report hearing whispered voices, pleas for release that were never granted. Footsteps echo down the corridors at night, and cell doors creak as if opened by unseen hands. Guards who once worked here mention lights flickering inexplicably, and have seen translucent figures pacing in the yard, bound by a prison that was once their home and their torment. 7. Fort Saskatchewan Jail, Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta. This jail holds the spirits of former inmates who seem to linger within its walls, bound by fate. Visitors claim to feel an overwhelming sadness, and some see shadowy figures moving through the hallways as if searching for something they left behind. Cold gusts sweep through the rooms, and objects mysteriously fall from shelves, as though moved by invisible hands. Paranormal enthusiasts have captured faint voices on recording devices, with sounds of weeping that seem to echo from the past. Those who visit the cells are often overcome with a sense of dread, as if the spirits of those who suffered here are trying to make their presence known. 8. L'Orignal Jail, L'Orignal, Ontario, built in 1825. L'Orignal Jail has seen centuries of hardship and punishment. It's said that the tortured spirits of past inmates remain restless, haunting the narrow cells where they once languished. Visitors describe hearing unsettling sounds, like the clinking of chains and quiet sobbing in the dead of night. The heavy iron doors seem to close on their own, and shadowy figures glide through dim corridors, vanishing into the walls. On certain nights, the air grows thick and cold spots appear, making breathing feel laborious and heavy. Some have claimed they felt cold, invisible hands brushing against them as they wandered through the cell blocks, a chilling reminder that the prison's tragic history is far from forgotten. 9. Regina Jail, Regina, Saskatchewan. The Regina Jail bears a chilling past that seems to bleed into the present, especially after dark. Staff and visitors alike report unnerving experiences, whispers from unseen sources, fleeting shadows in the corners, and sudden, intense drops in temperature. Cells where inmates once awaited their fate have an ominous stillness, punctuated by a bone-chilling sensation that feels almost like dread. Those who venture close to the gallows area have felt an oppressive weight, as if carrying the burden of the condemned. Many say the prison walls hold onto the emotions of those who perished here, their restless spirits forever pacing the empty hallways in a desperate search for peace. 10th. Headingley Correctional Center, Headingley, Manitoba. Headingley Correctional Center is known for its unsettling paranormal occurrences. Built to hold the province's most hardened criminals, the facility has seen more than its share of misery and despair. Guards on night shifts report hearing chains clanking, footsteps trailing behind them, and disembodied voices. Some have witnessed ghostly figures that fade into shadows, leaving behind an unnerving chill. The prison's solitary confinement cells are especially feared, with a strange, suffocating energy that fills the room. Visitors recount feeling an intense pressure on their chests, as if the walls themselves carry the weight of the prisoners' unresolved anguish, trapping their spirits in an endless loop of confinement. 11. North Bay Jail, North Bay, Ontario. The North Bay Jail, with its iron bars and dark, narrow corridors, has a haunted reputation. Ghostly figures and flickering lights are common sights for those who dare to enter. Former guards recount whispers and cries that echo through the empty cells, as though the jail is still occupied by unseen residents. Visitors have reported seeing apparitions that quickly vanish, leaving only an unshakable feeling of being watched. Cold spots appear without explanation, sending chills down the spine, and the doors sometimes creak open as if guided by invisible hands. The jail's tragic history hangs heavily in the air, a reminder of lives lost and forgotten. 12th, Penton Prison, Penton, British Columbia. Nestled in British Columbia's quiet landscape, Penton Prison hides a dark past within its deteriorating walls. Ghost hunters and visitors often report sensations of being followed by unseen entities. Shadows shift in empty hallways, and sudden drafts of icy air pass through the cells where inmates once spent their last days. The heavy silence is broken only by the faint sounds of footsteps or distant, mournful sighs. Some claim to have seen ghostly figures appearing and disappearing within the prison yard, as though locked in an endless search for freedom. Even after all these years, the air in Penton Prison feels dense, as if filled with the sorrow and despair of those who never left. 13. St. John County Jail, St. John, New Brunswick. St. John County Jail, established in 1855, carries with it the weight of a dark history that haunts its crumbling walls. The air inside is thick with despair, as if the spirits of its former inmates linger, still tethered to the place of their confinement. Visitors often report an overwhelming sense of dread as they wander through the dimly lit corridors, where the shadows seem to dance just beyond their line of sight. The heavy iron doors creak ominously, and some claim to hear faint cries for help echoing through the halls, a chilling reminder of the suffering endured within these walls. The isolation cells are particularly eerie. Many have felt sudden chills and the sensation of being watched, as if unseen eyes are observing their every move. Some have encountered ghostly figures appearing briefly, only to vanish into thin air, leaving behind an unsettling silence. The energy here is palpable, a testament to the anguish and sorrow that has permeated the building for over a century, making St. John County Jail one of Canada's most haunted locations. 14. Kamloops Jail, Kamloops, British Columbia. Kamloops Jail is a relic from another era, and some say its walls are steeped in supernatural energy. Staff and visitors report seeing apparitions, sometimes glimpses of prisoners in old-fashioned uniforms who vanish when approached. The cells are quiet, but unnervingly so, with strange, echoing footsteps that often follow people along the narrow corridors. The temperature plummets inexplicably, and witnesses describe an overpowering feeling of dread. In certain areas, visitors claim to feel unseen hands on their shoulders, as if restrained by ghostly guards. The jail's dark history is palpable, leaving an unshakable feeling that the souls of former inmates still wander the halls, bound to the prison even in death. 15. Dorchester Penitentiary, Dorchester, New Brunswick. Dorchester Penitentiary is infamous for its eerie energy, where both guards and inmates have shared chilling tales of ghostly encounters. Some report hearing low voices, sometimes frantic whispers as though prisoners are still plotting escapes from beyond the grave. The air in the solitary confinement cells feels stifling, and shadows stretch across the walls in unnatural ways, as if unseen eyes are watching. Visitors have witnessed doors opening and closing on their own, and sudden cold gusts pass through even the warmest rooms. The sense of being watched is overwhelming, and guards have felt as though hands are brushing against them in empty hallways. This penitentiary is more than a remnant of the past. It's a place where spirits linger, clinging to a history steeped in hardship and confinement. Thank you for joining us on this spine-chilling journey through Canada's haunted prisons. These locations remind us that history is never truly forgotten. The spirits of the past continue to roam, leaving their mark on those who dare to enter. If you enjoyed this exploration of the supernatural, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the mysteries of the unknown.